3 of the Grits. I'm Erin Beauty, and I'm sitting here with the awesome Mario Lemons, Mr. World Traveler, entrepreneur, educator, and artistic consultant. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely so. Because, I be seeing you traveling everywhere. I'm jealous, I'm jealous.
Don't be jealous.
No, but really, I always see you, doing some great things, doing some positive things around the world with different people and just traveling. And so recently I saw this, I didn't even know it was you actually when I was watching the video, until I saw oh, this is Mario. But you were placing like these plastic bottles in a building. So I'm like, what was going on with that? Because I know you recently went to Guatemala.
Yeah.
So, what were you doing there?
I actually was helping to build a school in Guatemala. Pretty cool opportunity I got through my travel club. We're partnering with a nonprofit called Hug It Forward. And they actually build schools in Guatemala, but they do it a very unique way in that they take recyclable bottles and they put trash in it that's in the community because they don't really have a good waste system. And so they're killing two birds with one stone by lining the walls with the plastic bottles and then pouring concrete on top, and now that's insulation for the schools. And so, they have created over 125 schools to date, and I was just honored to be able to be a part of it. So that's great.
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing. So you mentioned your travel club. So exactly, what's the name of the travel club?
It's Dream Trips, and so it's a wholesale travel club that get me to hook up on travel. So when you see me traveling, it ain't because I'm balling yet. But I just got the hook up, and it's been pretty cool. You get to meet some cool people, and we're partnered with other nonprofits that do great work internationally. So that's how I got connected with Hug It Forward, which is the company that we do stuff in Guatemala with. So
gotcha. That sounds amazing. And again, Mr. Educator here, we were talking earlier about how education opens up and expands so much. Open up your mind so much that it expands your thinking to where you will take those opportunities. And just how did you get involved in education?
I haven't talked about this in a while actually, but I actually was in theater most of my childhood, so acting and performing with the theater company and touring and doing all that. But it was my senior year in high school, and I just felt like a tug to go into education. I'm like, I don't know, do I even like kids enough? And through some prayer and sort of advice from some mentors, I went into education and realized, wow, this is truly one of my callings. And so that's how I got into the education field, and been able to get a degree in education, but then also a master's in teaching and curriculum. Been able to do some cool stuff, and I just love working with young people. So that's totally one of the things that I love to do as well. So.
Yeah, so I mean that's a wonderful thing, and I'm sure your students loved having you and everything. But I understand that you're not in the classroom anymore, and so I know earlier we were speaking about pulling all your talents together. But so what gave you that unction to make that leap?
Yeah, so I knew I was supposed to go into education and work with young people. That was the pull. I was a little confused when I was 18, going into college, if that meant be a classroom teacher, if that meant do other type of education stuff. And so I did the teaching in the classroom thing, and it wasn't quite it, right? And so ended up getting a master's degree I didn't get a raise for. And I just started thinking what's my next move, And one of my mentors talked to me, and she said, hey, if time and money wasn't an issue, what would you spend your time doing? Not what job you would have, what would you do every day? And I said, I would still work with young people, be involved with the arts, and travel the world. And we're like, all right, let's make that life for you. So literally what you see is a reflection of a lot of sacrifice, a lot of leaps of faith. Right? Really? And I mean, now for the last 3 years, I really haven't felt like I worked, because I get paid to do a bunch of stuff I would do for free.
And that's the beauty of it.
So cool.
Okay, I'm living my best life. Here's an example of living your best life. No, seriously, because so many times, we let things worry, get in the way of what we're supposed to do, what we're called to do.
Yeah.
And if you're passionate about it and you're willing to be open and guided by, God to direct you, and you have to take that leap. It's all about faith, know.
And I also think that is a level of like comfort that people are in that keeps them doing the same thing over and over again. And then you're wondering, like, why am I still having these same issues, or why am I still unhappy? It's because you got to do something different sometimes, to get some different results. And for me, it was being around different people as well, you know, because the people I was around, which I'm still very much so supportive of,
right.
Like they weren't in the same mindset that I was, so I had to surround myself with folks who lived the kind of lifestyle I was looking for, and like, would give me another perspective to think bigger, faster, and stronger. And now I'm able to impact way more kids than I was in the classroom. Not to say that the classroom is not a good space to work, right? Because we need good teachers. Definitely. Educators and teachers around the world are underpaid and overworked. Yes. Okay, I know it firsthand. And so, shout out to all the classroom teachers who are still sticking it out. But I just knew for me, I wanted to find ways to weave all my other passions in and make even more of an impact. So.
Yeah, and it seems like that's really been happening for you, because just how everything, I look at life now where it's pieces, you get pieces from, education, you get pieces from, your lifestyle, you get pieces from your job, you get pieces from your friends, your family, and everything kind of, it works out for your good. And it's awesome to be able to really use all your talents and put them into something great. Now, I've noticed that, I don't want to notice that, I figured,
commercial break. Dance break. We're getting our thoughts. We're thinking about what we're going to see next.
Okay.
And we're back.
And we're back. So, with the artistic consulting, explain.
I mean, it's just like a little title that through some contracts I've had, one of the ladies who contracted me called me artistic consultant. It's just to say that, I have had an expertise in the art field that I'm able to give some advice on, particularly around like youth engagement and youth development through the arts. And so for me, that I started my own theater company way back when. It feels like
I know,
forever
so long ago.
Yeah. Like so, after my freshman year in college, I was in education, but I had already had experience in theater, and I remember thinking like, when am I going to use my other gifts of the arts while I'm on this track to be a teacher, quote unquote. And then I just felt the unction again, like a pull to go ahead and just do my own thing, that relates to the art. And I called my friends. I'm like, hey, what, y'all want to do a play this summer?
Yeah, right.
Sure. So we wrote up something. Okay. I called a theater in Detroit, small little black box theater, and then we ended up doing one show, and it was sold out. And people were like, okay, what y'all doing next year? We're like, it wasn't quite in the plan, but okay, let's get back to the drawing board. Right. But it evolved, and every summer we did a show, and it got bigger and bigger. We had more shows. We incorporated music and some musicians, and so it's called Sharing the Gift Project, and it was about sharing the gifts that God gave you, right? So I've had experience with that. And then that led me to other opportunities to help support other programs. I started some mentoring through the arts programs at schools and got contracts to do that. And, at this point, I feel like, I'm not an expert, in all things art, but I do have a little niche as it relates to being able to incorporate art within the education context with young people. And so I've got a couple contracts doing that kind of work too. So that's what I came from. Just a little bit, and it's really from experience. It's not something that, I aspired to become, but, you talked about like those little pieces. I mean, I feel like there's dots in my world and my experience that I'm just now being able to connect, like, okay, wow, I did that, and look how that prepared me for this, and I met this person, and it's so cool how that works.
It's fun to realize, like, oh, this is my map.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go ahead and go forth, because then you get Mario Lemons.
Or you, right? You connect your dots. Everybody.
Or yourself or whatever. But I love it because you are definitely somebody who, I know you are like, whatever you are. I feel like you living your best life. I don't know. I could be wrong. But you are definitely, using all of your talents. Yeah. And that's what it's about. Definitely using all of your talents, and you're sharing your talents with others, which is very inspirational. Wow. It's admirable because it's like, wow, this is somebody who's doing it, and it's like, I know that.
I feel like that about you, though. Like, y'all already know she know how to do everything, bro. I'm like, yo, my girl Erin, who you need, she know how to do hair, she know how to sing, she know how to act. And here it is. I'm just trying to do like you. No, but I mean, we represent what it looks like to have passions and not be afraid to give it a try. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Right. They gonna say no.
Right. And then you move on. You try something different.
Exactly. Really, because I definitely have, and that's another thing. Failure. Like, don't be afraid to fail, because it's like, well. You know how many times you done fell down before you was able to walk, and look at you, right foot.
Walking. Don't even have to think about it.
Foot, right foot, left foot. Okay. Even backwards. But it was definitely great to chop it up with you. So do not forget to follow Mario Lemons on Instagram at It's Mario Not Luigi, and on Facebook, Mario Lemons. It was a pleasure speaking with you and sharing all of your information with us and your talents.